Hello. Hello, people watching this. Hopefully we'll see you in the comments.
Hello.
Go ahead and introduce ourselves. I am Matthew Gatos. I am the producer and editor on Journey to the Microcosmos. Whoever wants to go next.
Deboki.
Oh, sure. I'm Deboki, and I am the writer for Journey to the Microcosmos.
And this is James. I'm the guy behind the Microscope. So.
And that was Paula, our communications coordinator that you saw there in the corner there for a second. And she's the one arranging all of this, making sure that we're able to do what we're doing right now. So thank her. Thank you, Paula. But Hank will be joining us very soon. And yeah, we are here today to celebrate 500,000 subscribers, which includes all of you watching this. So we're going to answer some questions from the chat. We're going to answer some questions that we asked for on social media and other places. And then we're also just going to, talk about the channel a bit, talk about who we are, what we do. And obviously, we're going to be looking at some live microscopy over there on the side from James.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I just I'll put some stationary thing over there so we can just watch something and I can see you guys at the same time.
Were you trying to chase down a stenter?
Yeah, but it's not going really good, because I have to look at you and interact with you, and then I have to chase the center here, which is rather fast,
It's a little different from your normal day of microscopy.
Yeah, I don't have to speak. Like, I speak with my cat sometimes, but I made like a little dust cover for my cats. No, sorry, for my microscope, but then I put a shaggy carpet on the dust cover and they are just sleeping above my microscope. So when I'm just doing microscopy, I'm just like petting them at the same time. So
living the life.
Yeah.
How many hours a day, James, are you at your microscope?
Like, it depends. Sometimes, like, especially when I collected some new samples from interesting places, like I spent maybe like 12 hours a day. And I just keep recording, keep just checking things. And when I stop using the microscope, I just go back to the couch and I have a bunch of books over there. And my books, they don't sit on the shelf. They have to be next to me because like I have to go through them, all of them every day. And then I like try to identify what I was finding. And then I have to, check some details of the cell. So it's basically, this is my whole life. I'm doing microscopy, then I'm doing some microbe stuff, and then I'm, preparing some videos of the microbes. And that's it.
Nice. Yeah, I'd say that's a good rundown of James's average day. My average day is not 12 hours spent working on Microcosmos. Hello to all the new people in the chat who are joining. Hank will be here. He's on his way. So if you're wondering who we are, again, we are the team behind the videos that you don't hear from or see. And yeah, my average day on Microcosmos is much more of organizing the behind the scenes, making sure we're staying on schedule, and also editing the videos, which involves, sound design, picking the music out. We are very lucky to have Andrew Wong's music to use. He created, I think, around 21 original tracks now for us to use on Journey to the Microcosmos, and it is amazing to have all of those available to use. And so yeah, that's my average week working on a Microcosmos video, is doing the actual editing, making sure the production stuff is all on schedule, and then also making sure that the sound design and the tone of the videos stays consistent. Deboki, do you want to talk about
what we're supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
So my average day or week, I guess, of Microcosmos involves basically taking in what James's footage shows us, which is a lot of fun. Basically, just opening up the folder and seeing like what cool new things, and sometimes just jotting down like a very visceral, like, whoa, this clip is super weird kind of thing, just like as a note for things that we're gonna like put in the episode, and then going through a lot of papers, some old, some new, and just figuring out what we're going to be talking about and learning about together.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think Hank is about to join us, so he can add his 2 cents to his Microcosmos work. But I think everyone knows, obviously, Hank Green, narrator of the show. And what are we looking at right there, James?
I'm just checking this really chilling Paramecium bursaria. It's not moving too much, let's say. So I kind of like it. It's perfect for the live stream. So what you see there, like, can you see these little fuzzy things around the cell? Yeah, they are cilia. So now it's filtering the water and it's just pulling all the. Yeah, because if I look at the live stream and try to follow the microorganisms, this is what happens. So I have to look at here. And yeah, so it's just basically filtering bacteria and eating what it gets. And there are some small ciliates swimming around. Yeah, and Hank is here. Hey, Hank.
I am. Hello. Good to see all of you. I'm Hank Green. I'm host of Journey to the Microcosmos. Sorry I'm late. I got my schedule mixed up. But I ran back from my taco place and I'm here.
Now I'm just imagining somebody like driving by, seeing you sprint with a taco in your hand.
With a taco in my mouth and
is that TikTok's Hank Green
in the other hand?
But yes, for those joining us, we are here to celebrate the 500,000 subscribers that we hit somewhat recently. And again, thank all of you for that. And yeah, we are here. This is the whole team, pretty much. We have other people that I feel like I do want to mention that have helped throughout the growth of the channel. We have Mark Olson, who did our whole visual art design for the entire channel. Helped us, create a logo and fonts and the overall aesthetic of the channel, from everything from the intro screens to the end screens to the channel design. And yeah, that was a very important step early on in the process to have that look defined. Obviously, we have Andrew Wong's music, which is amazing. I talked about a little bit earlier. We have Paula, who is running this whole show right now and making sure that we are able to be seen by you people right now. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm probably forgetting some people along the way. There's obviously a lot of people at Complexly who make everything work. But yeah, Hank, do you want to talk a little bit about, we talked each a little bit about our experiences on a sort of weekly, regular basis of the things we do. Do you want to talk about sort of what it's like recording, hosting Microcosmos?
Yeah, I usually get a script, probably 2 scripts at a time, and then do a little read through to make sure I know how to pronounce everything. Sometimes I don't do that, and then I run into a word, and then Matt gets to listen to me curse for 4 or 5 minutes while I try and look up how to pronounce euglena or something. And then if I fail, then I will text James on WhatsApp and be like, "Help me." Or I will tweet sometimes. I'll be like, "Hey, does anybody in the world know how to pronounce this microorganism?" Because sometimes I kind of get the feeling that no one does.
Yeah, they're like Voldemort, you don't say the names. So you just read it on the book.
Yeah, I had to learn early on that there was times where Hank would say something in an audio track and it sounded either weird to me or new to me in a way that I wasn't sure. So I would email James and be like, "Is this the way that you should say this?" And James would just be like, "Well, no one has ever really said it out loud in any sort of public way. So sure."
So here we are, a YouTube channel defining the pronunciation of microorganisms.
So sorry to the people who are very, very into Latin or Greek and stuff. They get mad at us sometimes because people are like, "No, the Latin root of this thing is this," and I'm like,
I need to take a Greek class. Yeah.
I
got to take 1 semester of Greek. Whoa!
Did a muppet just attack you?
That's the shag carpet the cats sit on.
Yeah, my cats are sleeping on my microscope, and one of them just tried to jump there. Look, this is their place, and this is my microscope here. And
I was gonna say, while you have the camera turned there, some people in the chat were actually asking if you could show the microscope situation.
Sorry, can you say it again?
Oh yeah, some people in the chat were just wondering if you could turn the camera to show us the microscope. like you were just kind of doing, but like show us the whole setup
The
right
whole
there.
setup. Nice.
Yeah, it's a microscope, and
Cool.
we have a rather primitive way of recording right now. So this is on a tripod, and
the camera just looks into the viewfinder. Is it connected, or is it just looking in there?
This is not connected. It's
Oh,
just
wow.
like that.
See, it's.
And this is my cat.
Ah,
Oh, hello.
So yeah, they're on my microscope, like literally, and they just put their hats down, and I'm just like, petting them, and I'm just taking my microscope. So yeah.
What are you doing, Dad? Just looking at my other pets.
Yeah.
I've got one cat and about 400 million microbes.
I like that you have a cat tower with a microscope attachment.
Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the process of recording an episode is generally like, I've got my microphone here. It's a very different sort of thing. I turn my mic way up and then I talk very quiet. And then now I'm Journey to the Microcosmos, Hank. Thank you for coming on this journey with us as we have gotten 500,000 subscribers. And
there's actually a question about that, Hank. Somebody asked, how do you manage to be so calm when narrating? We all know of you as this like excited, extroverted person and not an ASMR narrator. Seriously, your narration is so calming. I love it. You're awesome, said Jimmy Dean. I don't think it's the famous Jimmy Dean.
Thank you, thank you, sausage. I don't know. Like when I first saw James's work and I was thinking about what kind of show this would be, I was like, people are starting to spend time on YouTube and like maybe a lot of YouTube is very frenetic and like capture and hold. And what if there was a way to keep people's attention without giving them 500 megabytes of information every second, the way that we kind of do at our other things. And so I am definitely a goofy, frenetic person in real life a lot of the time, but I'm also sometimes quite sleepy. And but I'm also like the main thing is that like I am, what the heck is that? What was that thing? Hey, is that some conjugation happening?
Yeah. But I think it's gonna go wrong.
You think it's not gonna work out for them?
They don't look like this normally. Like they usually come side by side, but these were like it's like a Spider-Man kiss, It's nothing different.
A Spider-Man kiss is the most polite possible way of saying that.
No.
What are you guys doing?
Maybe it was a cell division because I cannot see.
They broke apart. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Did they figure it out? Nope. All right.
Yeah,
well, good try, you guys.
Cell division because
I mean, much harder to record as they separate.
No, it's a conjugation. So they're trying it again now.
Oh, James's footage of this is a little bit before ours.
Yeah, the feed is a little bit delayed, so we're seeing about 10 seconds after he is seeing something.
Yeah, they're trying to make another go of it. Look, we want to exchange genetic material, but it's hard. I know, man. Dating's never easy.
Oh, we're gonna try and squeeze through. Okay,
get myself stuck in the wall. Do a bunch of spinning. Where'd you go?
You're gonna find each other.
Yeah. Do they have some kind of like chemical signal that they're sending to each other so they find each other?
Yeah, like for conjugation, there are like different types of mating types. They're called mating types. Yeah. So let's say this is type 1 and this one is type 2. So one of them releases some pheromones and it just like it pulls the other type towards it, and they basically kiss, and then they exchange genetic material through their mouth. Yeah.
And then
seems like they might be giving up now, though.
Yeah. It's like
If they want it, they'll get it. They'll find it.
I wanted to ask along these
Oh, but
lines.
sorry,
go
I
ahead.
wasn't done answering. I will continue to answer. And so I thought, what would it be like? And so I started to try and record like chill in like chill ways. And what do I sound like in that? And how do people do it? And so I did some research on how people do it. And like, you got to turn your mic up so you can talk a lot quieter, which is, and I don't know. It was like, so like the main thing is that like I see myself as a host, as an entertainer, and so like I like to try out different ways of communicating, and hopefully I get better at each of them as I flex the muscle, and it's really fun. It's so fun because like it's not just chill. It's also sort of like the voice of Microcosmos is chill, but also like just blissed, like a little bit blissed out. It's like, I'm really happy about this. And I did always sort of imagine, there's a certain like mental state that some people might be in when they're watching Microcosmos. And not like guaranteed or anything. I think that you can watch it in all kinds of mental states, but I think that's sort of like a very chill, blissed out vibe. And is also sort of like what we were going with with the music. And I think it's reflected in these images that are, I think that we can look at them and without that context, it can seem a little almost, banal or boring. But if you sort of like put it in that context, it like suddenly it's that, it's like Cosmos, but just like more euphoric kind of.
Yeah, and it came together like pretty quickly from idea to production. It was just one of those things. I remember you had this idea, and when it was presented to me, I was immediately like, "Oh yes, I know exactly what that like 10-word description. Right. Yes, chill beats, calm narration, slow paced editing. I got this. Let's go."
Yeah.
And it's so. Oh, sorry. Continue, please.
Okay, I was just going to say it is seeing the as James has gotten new equipment, just like that has affected how cool it is to look at and watch. And this microscope is just so pleasant to narrate to and to watch the content.
We have some more news about it, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know when we're gonna announce it, but we have some more surprises about the microscopy and the equipments. So it's gonna be getting.
Oh yeah, there's it's like one of those things. Like whenever James is talking about cool microscope parts and things he's upgrading, I'm like, that sounds great. When can we make a video about it? And he's like, well, it arrives in 8 weeks. So by the time we make videos with it, it'll be this like. Yeah. So it's sort of that one of those things. It's hard to like let you guys out there watching know that like we have cool stuff coming. You'll see it in 4 months.
Yeah. It's also we have like James has a huge backlog of footage, but now it's like some of it feels less usable because our current footage is so much prettier than the older stuff.
Yeah, I think like my 40 terabytes footage is not working right now. It's just like sitting on some hard disks over there. It's like,
yeah.
I would feel really bad if just we show something else than the IC microscopy because it looks so pretty. And I'm also worried about Matt's side because I don't want Matt to say like, okay, James, you have better footage than this. Come on, you can do better than this, and I need to edit this now. So
I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, the main thing is like if there are things that hello, little friend. If there are things that we, I guess can't like you have footage of it that's like it's a difficult thing to capture or rare to see, then we could still use some of your backlog footage if we needed extra footage of something unique or surprising, or even if it was like, we just don't have enough footage of this particular organism. It's a nice little happy face thing.
Yeah.
What is this, friend?
Clostridium. It's a desmid algae. So, but it has some barium crystals. So we can
Yeah.
just see them on the...
Jiggling around.
I just wanted to jump in here
Right.
while we're taking a look at this and say a lot of people are asking about the Kickstarter microscope in the comments and about sort of the process, the progress on that, and also basically like what's the plan for the microscope going forward. Hank, do you want to handle that question?
Sure. Yeah. So one of the things that is really exciting about having sort of a standard microscope for people who are in our audience is, one, I will have the same microscope, so that's cool, and I will, it's funny, I think the most interesting thing to look at, like that has the most depth, is like living stuff. But there's also all kinds of stuff I can put under the microscope and be like, oh, and just like shove my phone under there and be like, holy crap. And I think it could be really cool. Actually, did we talk about this, to do an episode where we put like first generation iPhone through current iPhone under the microscope to see how the pixels themselves have changed? Because you can see the pixels, no problem. But like, there's sort of like that's as much as you could do with a phone, really. Whereas with life, like, we've got this little guy, it's moving. What the heck? I wouldn't even thought that was alive, but it's moving.
Cochleopodium. It's an amoeba with scales, but I cannot show scales. Maybe I can try to do something here, but I'm so afraid that I'm gonna lose the live stream.
Okay, don't cause a problem. I'll keep talking.
Okay, yeah.
And so part of what I have been feeling is like I feel like a much bigger community of telescope nerds than of microscope nerds. And I don't want to rag on astronomy, because there's lots of cool stuff you could do with astronomy, but you're mostly looking at dots. You might be looking at fuzzy circles or the moon. That's pretty much it. Like, you got fuzzy circles, dots, and the moon. And some of those dots are really interesting, and you can do amazing stuff. And like backyard astronomers, for example, a backyard astronomer noticed the second ever interstellar visitor that we have ever documented in our solar system. It's a comet piece that is probably ejected from an early solar system many, many light years away from us, or at least some light years away from us. And that's freaking cool. And so I'm not trying to take anything away from telescope people, but there aren't enough microscope people. And I'm like, there's more to see, And like, I think there are a lot of completely undocumented things in the microcosmos that like amateurs could be finding and seeing if there were more people who were enthusiastic about that, the more like sort of hobbyist community. What are those little dots?
Little dots are they are bacteria.
Oh,
so
wow.
The one on the like just above the amoeba, right?
Okay, yeah.
They're just bacteria, and they're kind of forming a colony there.
Is this amoeba going to hunt some of those bacteria?
Yeah, it's eating on the way when it just crawling.
Just like while it's floating over.
Yeah, nom nom nom. Amazing. Super cool. So like things like that. So that was the thing. It was like James very early on was like, could we make our own microscope? I have ideas about how to do this, and make it with content creation and sharing in mind, which is like, hey, it's 2021. Like, why not that? But also in the future, we will know what microscope everyone has. So we will know how to make extra stuff for it. Like, if we want to do a new eyepiece that has a wider field of view, if we want to do new filters, we know exactly what filter tray it uses. If we want to do, I don't know, different kinds of objectives, like, we know exactly how to do that. and we know what everyone has. We can people can troubleshoot it among the community more easily, because one of the things I've learned in having a microscope is that like it's not like there's a lot of like procedures for obviously like the basics, but after that there's a lot of like opportunity for like messing about and trying out different things, and like what almost kind of like maker type stuff. Like James was telling me early on, he was like, yeah, and my first like filters I made myself out of cardboard,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's lots that can be done, and I like the idea of a lot of people sort of having the same thing to start with, so that like I know where you're at, but you also know where each other are at, and there can be a community that's like communicating about how to do something different or more interesting. But the hardest part for me, and I probably should have expected this, but of course didn't, is like, James, this sample you've been showing us right now has so many different things in it. And my samples are always like much less diverse. Or I'm like finding less, or like, and I always let my slides dry up before like anything interesting can come out. And so there's lots that I've learned from just doing the proofreading on the field guide that we're and the Microscope instructions that we're putting together for this. But yeah, that's a thing I didn't anticipate. That taking care of your microbes is a skill in itself.
Yeah, and it's like I have a nice story about this, because like I think you once got a sample from a frozen lake, and then you found many stentors and stuff. So Hank was telling me that you have no idea how diverse this sample is, and then like I didn't say anything, but then he was like, maybe you know it.
Yeah, I think it turns out he does.
If anyone's gonna know, it's him.
Yeah. And then you saw something and you were like, oh no. And I was like, what? And you were like, that's gonna eat everything. It's like a copepod or something, like some little something. He was like, I hate when those things are in my samples. That's gonna eat all your stentors. And I'm like, oh no. And indeed, they are all gone. I may have just killed them, but maybe the shrimpy guys killed them. I couldn't tell you.
I found that a helpful analogy when talking about microscopy, because I have people come to me as the producer and like ask me about James's work and all of this stuff. It's like, I knew nothing about microscopy before we started this channel. So everything I know about it, I have learned from working on this channel and working with James. And one of the closest things I could tie it to, when people are like, I bought a microscope and I don't know how to use it, or I feel like my stuff doesn't look as good as James's stuff. And it's like, for me, a microscope is like a guitar. Like, it's a thing you have to practice with. It's a thing you can get better at. It's not a thing that you can just like watch a YouTube how-to video and immediately expect to be the best at it. Like, you're not going to buy a guitar, listen to a Jimi Hendrix song, and know how to play a Jimi Hendrix song. Like, you have to practice and learn these things. And I think we talked earlier about how James spends 12 hours a day sometimes at his microscope, and then goes and reads books about microscopy as well. So it takes a lot.
Wow, guys, we just documented something probably never reported from Europe.
What is that?
This is a common microorganisms called Spirostomum, but this species with endosymbiotic algae, it was never like, oh my god, sorry, I can't speak.
That's really cool.
Science is happening live and in the moment right now.
Can you see
somebody actually asked a question about like, does James ever make any like discoveries while doing this work, or is it just like kind of the same stuff and I think this is one of those times where you just saw it happen.
We can confirm that discoveries can be made.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Where'd he go?
Sorry,
yeah, you can focus on that.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, there you are.
Alive. I'm gonna keep it alive for some time.
He looks like one of those. It looks like one of those glow sticks that like you kind of like snap and then it like lights up.
Yeah.
I thought Dr. Deboki Chakravarti would maybe have, oh, it looks like, and then I thought it was going to be some kind of other organism.
Yeah, same. I thought that was definitely going towards like, oh, nematode or something else. And it was just like glow stick.
Yeah.
It does look like a
This is how the scripts come together. First, a very, very random comparison.
You reverse engineer it. So you write glow stick in the middle of the paper and you're like,
Yeah.
all right, what's coming before and after glow stick?
Elevate from glow stick.
So, James, can you tell me any more about what this thing is?
This is a giant single-cell organism called Spirostomum, okay? And it's one of the fastest moving organisms because it has this reflex, or I don't know how to call it, but it contracts. And when it contracts, like it travels like such a distance compared to its size. It makes it one of the fastest organisms. And they are common. You find them almost in every sediment sample, but not with symbiotic algae. This green thing inside is the tiny algae just hitchhiking the Spirostomum, and it's just like using the sunlight, it's doing photosynthesis and sharing some of the food with the Spirostomum. And in exchange, the Spirostomum is just protecting them, because they're tiny and the Spirostomum is a giant. So
right, yeah, and it's also it's making sugars in there that maybe the Spirostomum can use.
Yeah, and it's like you can see them better now, I think.
And say for anyone, I see people guessing like this is a Spirostomum is Spirostomum.
Yes.
For those trying to Google along.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah. Well, I was also like, what is this thing? And so trying to find information about it.
That is a lot of cilia. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it has a really long mouth, actually. Do you want me to get closer with the OBS?
Can you ask him to stop moving so much? Just like
I can kill it for you if you want.
Kill it.
That's great live stream content. How does James get his great footage? Murder. He's got sort of a helical structure to him too. It looks like there's kind of a spin.
Yeah, when I tap the slide, can you see how it contracts? Wait a second.
Yes, we can.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen several of those controls. Very fast. Got to record that at 240 frames a second and see if we can actually measure how fast it's going. Because that is one frame.
I did, but it's still just one frame.
That's not going to give us any data.
Yeah, we need a phantom camera. Let's work with the slow-mo guys. Should have a phantom camera up there against the microscope.
The fastest things in the Microcosmos would be an interesting episode for sure.
I think we would need too much light, and it would.
Oh yeah, we'd bake them with the light for sure.
Yeah, that would be the problem. Is for the phantom camera, you need so much light that it would just roast everything on the slide. I did want to jump in just to say some people have talked about just in general how much they love the channel in the comments, which is great to see. And I also saw somebody bring up Rotifer merch as an idea, and this was like sort of a mini little commercial plug section that I wanted to insert here in the middle of us talking to say that we have Rotifer merch right now. I have it here. We have the Brachionis pin here. Nice. It's hard to get focused because it's just a normal webcam. But we also still have the Stentor Caeruleus pin available that you can get. We have coloring books. Boom. Look at, I'm ready. I have all this stuff. And to be fair, I'm wearing the Paramecium socks right now, so I can't really
show them.
Like
you can do
those. I can do some. There we go. But yeah, dftba.com. Search Microcosmos. We have plenty of fun merch there. And then last little plug thing before we answer some more questions. We also have a Patreon page that we mention at the end of the episodes, but just want to reiterate it here. Patreon.com/journey to micro. If you want to support the channel, you can become a $2 tier or an $8 tier patron. For the $2 tier, you get our monthly uncut videos, which is going up later today, which is like an hour-long video, just footage and music, no Hank narration. It's just you sit back, chill, enjoy the uncut footage. And then with the $8 tier, you get your name in the end credits, but you also get weekly high-res wallpapers that you can put on your phone, your computer screen, whatever you want. And you, like, the number one perk, obviously, is that you're helping the channel exist, and you're helping us be able to make this channel.
Elena is asking, yes, and thank you to all of our patrons. I'm sure that there's a number of you in the room right now. Elena is asking, I want to buy the Microscope. We will eventually I have the Microscope on sale for people beyond our Kickstarter backers, but of course, like our first step is to get them all done and complete for Kickstarter folks. I have one question about Spirostomum I want to ask James in just a second, but first I will say that the Microscope continues to be on schedule, which is great. Kickstarters always have a chance, like at any given point, for us to get behind, and so I'm not saying that we will definitely deliver on schedule, but right now things are looking good. And yeah, we are finalizing the language of our instructions for the Microscope right now, which I basically have one last thing that I need to do that everybody's kind of waiting on me for, because I'm being a little precious about something and I want to make sure that we get it right. So that will be done, and then they'll start printing that, and which of course, like the printer is different from the people who make the Microscope. They have to get it so that they can box them together. But James, you're looking at something right now, which makes me think maybe you're looking this up. But did you say that those photosynthetic Spirostomum hadn't been seen in Europe ever?
I'm not sure about that, but it was on my list to report.
Yeah,
because I think it was reported from Africa and UK, from the UK and from the USA, but I'm not sure. My professor is just watching this live stream right now, so maybe she can comment. Like, professor, nice. I'm gonna be doing this probably. So
yeah.
Because she's a ciliate expert, and we work together. And yeah, like after our chat, I'm just gonna be like calling her, and I'm gonna be like, "Did you see the ciliate? Did you see the ciliate? What do you think about it?" And I'm gonna keep them alive for as long as I can.
And you're not worried about losing it on the slide. Like, you can always find it again.
No. This slide, I prepared it 2 days ago, but I didn't find it 2 days ago here. And I wonder how that happened. I sometimes add like a bit of water from the side because the slides get dry. But I put them in humidity chamber, so this one I'm gonna remember. This ciliate is on this slide, and I remember where I collected the sample, and yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna find more of it, but let's find it on the slide. So this, because
sometimes when I'm doing this, like I'm like, I'll never find that again. Do you have like a bit of a mental map of the slide that you can like know where things are on it?
Yeah, like I have like some, like landscape marks. I don't know how can I describe it. Like next to this dead rotifer, for example. Right. So yeah, you memorize the slide. It's gonna get better with practice. So
that was one of the things that I struggled with when I was playing around with our Kickstarter one as well. That like the moment I zoomed in or out from something, I was like, "It's gone. It's nope. I don't know where to
see you again."
Yeah, like I found a cool thing, I zoomed in too far, and now I don't know where it went. Well, I guess I'll never
especially when they're moving. Things sometimes these things move very fast.
Yeah, I'm sorry to make people nauseous with my.
Yeah, so you're just like going up and down and back and forth a little bit, sort of like scanning the whole slide.
See, it's here.
He found it.
I think. Give me a couple of seconds.
Yeah, we'll catch up. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
You're just hanging out. It's just bent over a little thing.
Yeah.
Now it stopped moving for us.
Yeah. Wait for it. About that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Deboki, somebody asked in the chat, what is it like to write the scripts? Which might be a little bit of an open-ended question, but I don't know if you want to expand on that a little bit as far as maybe the experience of writing and researching and diving into this world.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because I feel like every script takes me on a very, very, very different trajectory. Sometimes it's very much like diving through these old papers that are like, and my sense of old has now become very varied. There's old as in like within the 20th century, but like early 20th century, and then there's like centuries old, and all of those different like, I don't know, eras of microscopy have their own different like qualities for what kind of information you're getting and how they're talking about it, and that's really fun. And then because we will have like some episodes that are more species specific, that's like, you know, we're really diving sometimes, like with the Basilaria episode, I remember realizing like there's this whole paper just documenting like a dance party that like actual scientists had like to mimic the Basilaria. And so there's always just like weird little stories that you find like that. That are really fun. And so I think a lot of it is like in terms of figuring out how a script to me is going to like kind of come together. A lot of times it's finding those like key details where while you're reading it, you're like, huh, that's really cool. And then it's like, okay, well, what is it that I think that's cool about it? And what is it about this? Like if I were talking to someone that I would get like super excited about and like want to dive more into like talking about and just explaining like, this is why this thing is really fascinating to me. And so I think that's like kind of how like the scripts go from just being about like a microbe thing to then connecting it to like other stuff in the world and our experience of living in the world. It's like taking that initial like cool anecdote or that cool clip and then just being like, okay, why do I think it's cool?
Right. That's always the big question. Like, what's the coolest thing is a very important question, but why do I think it's cool is a very important question. What is this now? Is there one that doesn't have photosynthetic?
Yes, and this is also my professor just texted me, and she's saying OMG with a lot of exclamation marks.
Oh man, who could have thought it would go this well?
Yeah, and it's like this one is without endosymbiotic algae, and this one is with the endosymbiotic algae, and this one is super common, but this is. Sorry, there's a delay. This is not. So.
Yeah.
Huh. And they're right next to each other. Are they definitely different species, or is one just colonized and one isn't?
No, the thing is, when this one divides, it shares the. Wait, let's see. Sorry, just a second for the video to catch up. Yeah. So when this one divides, it shares half of the algae with it through the cell division. So the it's like Paramecium bursaria, this Paramecium species. It's always, you know, like it always has some algae inside, because during the cell division, it's just the algae, like let's say there are 300 algae inside the organism, and when it divides into two, it just like each one gets the half of it. And then they grow to the normal size, normal looking cell, and then the algae just keep reproducing inside the organism, and it just like, it looks like a sardine can after some time, you know, with stuff with algae. Yeah.
So I shouldn't be thinking of this. I'm stuck in a animal frame, but like that. Yeah, this thing is going to replicate by dividing. So whatever's inside of it will remain inside of it, and the other one, whatever's not inside of it, will remain not inside of it. But there wouldn't be a way for like that one that exists over there, or that way to like suddenly to get colonized.
They sometimes eat algae, and they sometimes acquire endosymbiotic algae as well, but I have to see them close up. So I've never seen algae inside these species.
Right.
But I'm not sure if it happens with Spirostomum, but with some other single-cell organisms, they can acquire algae from the environment. But it's just like it's like an ephemeral thing. It doesn't, it doesn't just inherit it from, from one cell to the daughter cell. So it just, it happens and they acquire it. And after some time, they either digest it or they just, they just puke them out, literally.
Okay.
Pleasant.
I just wanted to jump in again to say,
yeah.
to let people know, people were joining the chat later and don't know who we are. So I just wanted to head that off again and say that we are the team behind Journey to the Microcosmos. You don't normally see human faces on this channel, so it's a bit of a surprise. I am Matthew Gatos. I am the producer and editor on the channel. Deboki, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Deboki, and I'm the writer for the channel.
And I'm James, and I do Microscopy. So
He's our master of microscopes, James White, who we talk about at the end of the episodes.
And that's Hank.
And I'm Hank Green. Thank you for coming to this live with us. I make the words. I make the noises that Deboki often makes with letters.
Yeah, that's definitely the easiest way to describe what we do.
Yeah, well, look, I like to go to
tried
first
making words
principles a lot.
other things, but letters just stuck.
Those number words, whew, those are rough.
Yeah.
Those episodes in binary code.
Yeah.
That's next April Fool's. There we go.
I'll figure it out.
I did want to say hi to the Life in Jars channel has joined us in the chat.
Hey, Life in Jars!
Many people have suggested a collaboration between Life in Jars and Journey to the Microcosmos, and I would love to make that happen in some way. So we will maybe try and figure that out. But I also wanted to jump in here and do a couple quick lightning round questions. We're kind of approaching the end of the live stream. We're only going to go for another 12 or so minutes. And so there's a couple fun lightning round questions that I thought we could all answer. First up, somebody just said, if you could enlarge one of the residents of the microcosmos, which one would you choose and why? And I think it's very easy to look at these things and think of them as cute, cuddly. But I think if you enlarge them to dog size, they'd be terrifying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like a rotifer would just weed whackers on its face. Just don't get close. I do love rotifers though. It's one of the they're one of the things that I find most easily in my samples. So I get excited about them. I don't know. All ciliates are just covered in weed whackers if they get enlarged.
I think I would want to see Gastratrix because every time I see, I think it would be terrifying too.
Yeah.
But it's terrifying in a way that terrifies me less than tardigrade. The idea of a giant tardigrade terrifies me somehow. That is nightmare. But Gastratrix are nightmare in a way that feels more familiar, and I think would also be super cool to see.
Yeah, I think
they'd essentially be like Pokemon. They'd be like Pokemon just wandering around if you suddenly just have this Heliozoa floating behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, my fiance is calling me a Pokemon catcher because I just keep finding new things and adding them in my collection, So yeah, I think, but I would like to get a horse-sized water bear so I can ride it around the city. And with a sticker on it, maybe.
Oh man, I'm imagining a giraffe-sized Lacrimaria now, and just the most dangerous giraffe that's ever existed.
It wouldn't be here if there was one.
It'd be the apex predator.
Yeah.
I did want to address another question that somebody asked on Patreon. Katie asked about our recent human blood episode. And said, would we consider featuring other human skin flakes or spit or hair? They said, I don't know if there'd be a ton of microbes, but who knows? And I'll jump in first and just say, I think we've talked about all of these ideas. The problem with this is that James is our current only footage provider, and we only want to ask so much of James. And when we actually start asking for blood, sweat, and tears, it sometimes is a little bit of a harder discussion than just, I know you like to film your fun microbes, but what if you cut yourself? Like,
what
we don't want
see is, I'd like to examine the inside of your mouth, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's something that like we're interested in, like.
But that, I mean, that was the first microscopists were all about that, man. They were like, "What is this? What is that?" You know, and like, I don't think the Leeuwenhoek episode is up yet, but as a preview, Leeuwenhoek once sampled his own poop and found something in it that was alive, and through his descriptions of it, we can confirm that he had at that time Giardia, which is a disease that is caused by drinking dirty water and having microorganisms inside of you. So that's wild that we know that about a guy who was alive in the 1600s.
Yep.
Yeah.
He also wrote descriptions of his poop.
So I gotta take good notes when you're doing your experiments.
Yeah.
But there's also an element of that of like, we can let Leeuwenhoek handle some of that. And
yeah, it's been done.
We only like want the audience to be able to get to know James so well.
Yeah.
Somebody asked real quick, this is a question for you, Hank. How did the name of the show crop up?
I have no idea. Why is it a question for me? Was it my idea?
I mean, if you don't want to take credit for it, somebody else can take credit for it. But from my memory was we were in a meeting, you suggested it, and I said, all right, but is that like the temporary title or is that the actual final title? And it ended up being the final title, and I think it's great. But at the time, it just kind of like came out as a title.
Yeah, sometimes I will do that, and I will be pretending that it's just a spur of the moment, and I want to like get people's feedback because I'm like, do you think this is? And then if somebody doesn't like it, I'm always very upset. But I mean, Cosmos obviously is the sort of early quintessential science feature, and I looked, and there was a thing called Microcosmos that came out a while back that was sort of like Cosmos style, but it was about just small animals like bugs and stuff, so not as micro as we are, and I was like, well, we can't just call it Microcosmos, though we did get the YouTube channel, which was nice, because I felt like that was already a thing a little bit. And I don't know. I guess it just like seemed like I like the idea of journey. I like the idea of like going to a place that is here, but that we don't go to very often. Yeah, that's probably it. But
cool.
And with anything, after 3 years pass, I forget about it. That's the statute of memory for me. I just don't hold on to things longer than that.
I mean, I think early on, one of the names was just like the Germ House or Germ Show or something.
Yeah, it was. There was a house. There was definitely the word house was involved in the early name. Forgot about
really
that.
glad we didn't go with that,
Yeah.
Welcome to the Germ House.
That's the original Hank Green voice. Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the Germ House. I'm your host, Hank Green. Look at this little guy. Wow, he's digesting stuff, and maybe he's gonna try and. Oh, what's that? Is that a rotifer? No, it's a tardigrade.
No, it's a rotifer.
No, it's a rotifer. It's a rotifer.
We only have like 5 minutes left here. I thought it'd be fun to announce a secret thing that we haven't talked about yet that people will find out on Monday when the new video goes up. But we were talking about what we do on this channel, what all of us do, and that is slightly getting a little tweak to one of us on Monday because Deboki is becoming another host on Journey to the Microcosmos. So
very excited to do my close to the microphone voice.
Yeah. Obviously we'll talk about this in Monday's video a bit more, but Hank will still be hosting the majority of episodes, but from time to time you will hear Deboki on the channel as well.
Yeah, it's part of my strategy to not have everything break if I die.
That's a solid strategy.
I'm glad to know that I'm part of that plan.
Deboki, you're a bigger part than you know. I have all kinds. You basically just step in and take over everything. So
sometimes I like to call my job fake Hink. Sometimes this is now added to my description.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I feel like fake Deboki, where I'm like, here I am saying all the words that someone else wrote. Gosh, you found a nice little spot, James, with all these little fun guys.
Yeah, this is a different slide. I switched the slides, and this is also a Spirostomum. Wait a second, sorry.
That's okay. I'm like, no, it's not.
It's like those fruit Jello pies, or like those 50s Jello kind of like weird things.
Deboki just wants to eat the microcosmos. That's all.
I'm hungry.
Okay, these ones seem smaller to me.
Yeah, they are much smaller because they are different species.
Okay.
So we saw 3 different species of Spirostomum today.
They're very pretty, though.
Yeah.
I like those striations, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this one.
There's so much. How do you keep them so happy, James? What do you feed these guys?
I read to them, every night. So.
Yeah.
No, it's just like they're in humidity chambers, so they just the slides they don't dry up, and these things keep reproducing.
Do you put any like milk or hay in there, or
no, not under the slide, because then it goes really it loses all the oxygen super fast and everything dies. So this is just one drop of sediment, and and everything's alive here.
And how long till they work through all of the nutrients there?
I have one slide. I don't know where is that one right now, but it's alive over a year now.
Wow. There's just a lot of food. There's a lot of this sort of cascade from living to not living anymore. There's a lot of opportunity to capitalize on that.
Yeah, it's like a closed ecosystem, everything is just living. They're dying, and some other things eating them, and they're reproducing. And they never know that we are watching them.
Yeah, there's been many a comment on the channel before of what if we're just the microbes being observed from above by even larger beings that are watching us.
And then somebody's watching them. Yeah, I mean, this is the vibe we're going for.
Yeah, it's just tardigrades all the way down.
Yeah, the vibe we're going for is at some point you're like, whoa, the word microbe is wild.
Cool. Well, we need to actually sadly wrap up here.
Yeah.
Coming to the end of the live stream here. But as always, if you're watching this and are not already subscribed to the channel, please do that. If you want to check out our Patreon to help this channel keep existing, it's patreon.com/journey-to-micro. If you want to check out any of our cool merch, like paramecium socks or coloring books, it's all at dftba.com. And I think that's all the plugs I have. Yeah. So, if anybody else has anything, final thoughts to share real quick before we get off.
So it's very exciting to have 500,000 subscribers. If there's anybody in your life who you're thinking, hey, they probably like this, let them know about it, because it's hard out here for a YouTube microscopy channel sometimes. But I think that we found a really cool thing to be spending some time on. And
word of mouth is number one thing. Share with your pals. People often will say that the very common YouTube comment of why don't you guys have 5 million subscribers? And it's well, if you want to help us get closer, tell your mom.
Yeah, if each one of you had got us 10 more subscribers, we'd be there.
Tell all your moms.
Tell all your moms. Every mom. It's our new
that you've ever met.
Mom-focused microscopy channel.
Yeah, Microcosmos.
I think we've got Mother's Day merch now.
Oh, we better hurry. We better hurry. That's coming up.
Well, we missed our April Fool's opportunity with Journey to the Microcosmos. We're rebranding. It's just for moms now. All right.
Well,
yeah. Thank you to the three of you for joining, and everybody else for coming and hanging out, and thank you also to all 500,000 of our subscribers. It's pretty amazing. It's very exciting. And goodbye. We should just go. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.